you did a great job of kind of setting the table in terms of kind of the social CRM platform. I'm curious on two fronts. One is, in your bio, you talk about you're driving the future ecosystem for Salesforce. Mm-hmm. Curious about what does that mean? What are your thoughts about how the ecosystem, how you want the ecosystem of Salesforce to change? How will it be different? What are your priorities? And then from we're all kind of in the partner ecosystem business, BD folks here. How do you apply that, kind of answer that question to how you're measured, how your group is measured? There's always trade-offs about what to do in the next quarter versus kind of the vision in the next year. I'm curious specifically, as you've come into the role here recently, what are the measurements, what are the metrics to measure partners, which is kind of an amorphous thing to many companies?
First part first, because measures are always fun. So where do we want to see the partner ecosystem? So we're looking ahead towards being a $5 billion and then a $10 billion dollar company, and what we're going to look a lot different. I think we already do in 12 months, really, and our partner ecosystem just has to change dramatically. Majority of our partners do Salesforce CRM implementations, right? We've just recently, in the last 2 years, started getting people to build apps. So we have a large developer community. In fact, the way we measure the size of our workforce is through certifications. It's the only real way you can measure it because it's something we can control. So we have CRM certifications. So you can be certified as a Sales Cloud implementer, a Service Cloud implementer, or a developer. And just last year, the certified developers actually surpassed the certified consultants who do the normal CRM type stuff. And so that to us was kind of a view towards that's the direction we want to see, because Salesforce is moving towards that platform, right? Are we going to build more things? Are we going to build more apps in general? I don't know, but if you look at the acquisitions we do, if you look at the investments we make, if you look at day 2 of Dreamforce, it was all about the platform. That is our future. That market is 10 times the size of our Sales Cloud market of SFA. So that is our future. Our partners need to, look at that future, look at that social enterprise component, and say, can we service a client in all these different ways? If I only have the skills to implement Salesforce automation, then I am not going to be included in projects that then tie that into your call center. If I don't understand social media, how am I going to relate what Radian6 does in terms of how they're selling to a customer, in terms of the 360-degree view of a customer? Boy, I got to learn social media. What am I doing about mobile? Because now you can't just implement SFA, because now they want it on mobile. So the partners need to learn how to grow, and quickly is the problem. You can't, this is my 3-year dream. You're not going to win projects anymore, especially in the enterprise space, if you do not understand how to do mobile, how to do social, and how to do the platform. And so we're constantly pushing our partners, you've got to learn. Now, the flip side of that is you also have to then learn to specialize, because if you're a smaller company, if you're, Capgemini, PwC, you have that breadth of knowledge and that specialty to take on all those different components. What it probably means is you're grabbing from different parts of the organization. If you're 100 people, 300 people, or 30 people, then you got to specialize. And maybe, I'm very good at mobile, I'm very good at social, but that's what I'm going to be good at. And then I'll kind of add on, I'll knock down different bowling pins. But our point is you cannot be static. You have to be constantly growing. And if you are static, you're just going to get passed by everyone else. And we see it all the time with a partner they're happy doing what they're doing, they're growing at 20% a year, we're growing at 38%. Guess what? 50 partners just passed you by in the last 6 months. And so we're constantly challenging our partners to grow and look where we're going. And where we're going is everything that's social, everything that's mobile. We're also going very open. So look at Heroku. It's an extremely open environment. Not only do they do Ruby on Rails, they also do Java now. We're going to add more languages. So we're looking to be much more open. So open source type of development, what are partners doing in that case as well? So that's what we're pushing. From a measures perspective, the team I'm on and my team, if you will, in particular, looks at, because I do 2 things. So one is I recruit strategic partners in niches that we don't have, right? So we don't have a lot of Radian6 partners. There just aren't that many out there. Actually, there are. They're all customers. They're not actually partners. So it's an interesting angle we have there. Heroku partners, same thing. Heroku partners don't care about referral fees. They don't care about SFA. They care about building an app and deploying it on a scalable platform. So it's about finding what we're going to recruit and then changing our program to support that. Now, we have short-term needs. So there's short-term measures that we do, which is all around making sure we have the partner ecosystem and capacity in that ecosystem to handle the demand that we have coming. So when you're enterprise software and you're growing at 38 to 50%, depending on who you ask, per year, your partner ecosystem, when you have a partner-led model, has to grow at least that or faster. And so how are they scaling up? And in a services business, it's very hard to scale that kind of growth organically because you're always looking at the next 3 months. So any of you guys that are consulting companies out there, I'm sure you understand, it's hard to hire ahead of the curve. It's even harder in the cloud environment, which makes it that much more difficult. You don't deploy someone for 12 months on a cloud project. It's 6 weeks, right? And then they've got to be built again, and then they got to be built again. So you're at 6 weeks, you might be at 3 months, you might get lucky to have a 6-month-long project, woohoo! But the old ERP on-premise where you're out there for 12, 24, 36 months, you've got predictable revenue, that gives you a cash flow that you can invest back in the business. You don't have that with cloud computing these days. So, is there an easy answer to that? No. But we try to help them. So the other side of my business is we actually invest in partners and actually try to give them cash to help them grow, to add and hire ahead of the curve, hire salespeople, hire and go on demand for their marketing, et cetera, so they can grow their business and grow it faster than the rates they're doing it today. So we measure the growth of our ecosystem, and that's a big measure for us. We measure how we partner together in terms of how we're working on deals together, how we're engaging together with deals together. And we measure a lot around customer satisfaction, actually. So the partners who do implementations with our product, whether it's Force.com or it's Sales Cloud or whatever, we measure the performance from the customer's viewpoint of what they're doing on that. So customer satisfaction is extremely important. My organization belongs to an organization called Customers for Life. So we don't call it professional services, we don't call it support, we call it Customers for Life because our business model relies on having customers for life. It is what it is. Subscription only goes as good as the renewal rate, and we strive every year the renewal rate is going up, and it's all about, at the end of the day, it's all about delighting the customer, but making it a customer for life. And our partners are a huge part of that because if they're part of that ecosystem. If they fall down, then we lose a customer. So we have to make sure that they are doing as good or better than we can do.
Sure, that's an interesting contrast because if you take a look at the sort of traditional ERP or CRM implementation, 2 years, 3 years, you bought the software, you signed the papers, you wrote a big check, you're mid-project, you don't like your consultants, you're not going to kick out the vendor. Right. So those projects got to be obviously very contentious. So I completely agree with what you're saying. And it is more of this consumer mindset. The same way if I'm a consumer, sometimes it's your energy company. You don't have a choice. Or Comcast is a great example where I lived in New Jersey. I couldn't go to DirecTV. I couldn't get Fios. I had to deal with Comcast, but that was the exception that proved the rule. If I didn't like Amazon's customer service, I could go to another place to get my books. Mm-hmm. So I think it is very much this ethos of the customer that is permeating the enterprise.
But you can now go other places for your voice services, for example, into voice. Yeah. So, there's finally escape.
To your point, though, too, lastly, with services, I think as a subscription-based company, we are actually more aligned with consulting firms than the old on-premise model. Granted, our projects may not be as big today as the old SAP projects, but you have to be successful. We have to make sure you are successful because we rely on that renewal. It's every year. It's not, like you said, buy it and then rip it out 10 years later. You've already paid for it. We have to have that customer renew, and we have to be tightly aligned with our partners to make sure that they do very good implementations. Because consulting companies, same thing, right? You have to have customers for life. Your renewal of customers is how you build your book of business. You're not doing a new customer and then throwing them out the window and going in someone new. You're building that same kind of book of business. And we're doing the same thing. So I think it's actually very well aligned as a subscription business.